Hey everyone, welcome back. We always talk about what makes us click with someone, right?
Yeah,
And it seems like it always comes down to this big face-off.
this epic battle.
Yeah, exactly. Love versus sex appeal.
The age-old question.
Haha, exactly.
Yeah.
So we're going deep on this today, diving into this podcast I found called Love versus Sex Appeal. What wins the heart?
Ooh, catchy title.
Right. Their first episode, they call it the battle for the heart, love or sex appeal. And honestly, it got me thinking.
Yeah, I bet. Because it's not just about romance, is it?
No, not at all. It's like
Mhm.
these dynamics are everywhere. Like, think about your friendships or even at work.
Oh, totally. Even family sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm really curious to get your take on this whole thing. Like, right off the bat, the podcast jumps into defining these two sides. They talk about love, that deep emotional connection, commitment, intimacy, all that good stuff.
And then on the flip side, you have sex appeal. It's like this magnetic
Oh,
pull,
yeah.
that physical attraction,
You
charisma.
just feel drawn to
And
them.
yeah, exactly. But here's the thing. Are they really opposites? Like, can't you have both?
That's what I was wondering, because sometimes you meet someone and there's that instant spark, but then,
But then you get to know them and you realize there's so much more there.
yeah, like a real connection.
Exactly. And the podcast digs into this, talking about the psychology behind love. They make the case that love is all about those strong bonds that we build over time,
Makes sense.
like through shared experiences, learning to trust each other, going through tough times together. All of that strengthens the connection. They even bring up Dr. Helen Fisher's work on brain chemistry.
Oh, wow. Getting scientific.
Yeah. She talks about how hormones like dopamine and oxytocin play a huge role.
So those are the ones that give you those feel-good vibes.
Exactly. Euphoria, attachment. They're like the chemical glue that holds us together, in a way.
That makes so much sense. But okay, let's be real. We can't ignore the power of sex appeal, right? Like that initial attraction. Sometimes it's just undeniable.
Oh, absolutely. That first impression, that spark, it can be intoxicating.
It's like, bam.
Haha, yeah. And honestly, it makes sense from an evolutionary perspective.
Really? How so?
Well, think about it. For our ancestors, survival depended on finding a healthy, strong partner.
To keep the species going.
Exactly. And those qualities were often linked to physical attractiveness. But it's not just about looks, right? Sex appeal is also about confidence, how someone carries themselves, their social skills.
Hmm.
Even a good sense of humor can be super attractive.
Oh, totally. It's like that whole magnetism thing.
So you've got that initial sizzle, but then the question becomes, can it last?
That's what I was thinking. Like, in the long run, does love actually win out?
It's a good question. The podcast talks about some research that suggests love really does seem to be the key for those really long-lasting, deep connections.
Interesting. So maybe there's something to that whole love conquers all idea after all.
Maybe. But is it always a clear-cut victory for love? What about those relationships that start out super passionate, but then over time, they grow into something more?
Oh, yeah. I know people like that.
Yeah, the podcast actually shares some amazing stories from their listeners.
Oh, cool.
And one woman talked about how she was totally drawn to her now husband from the very beginning.
Like instant chemistry.
Yeah, but as they got to know each other, a deep love blossomed. They built a life together, faced challenges, and their connection only got stronger.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think it shows how diverse and complex human relationships are. It's not always black and white.
Exactly. It's kind of like you can't judge a book by its cover.
Totally. And they had a relationship expert on the podcast who emphasized that. She said sex appeal might be that initial spark, but love is what keeps the fire burning.
It really makes you think, huh? Like, what's the balance in your own relationships?
Right. It's a good thing to reflect on. But at the end of the day, the podcast seems to come down on the side of love.
Like love wins in the end.
Well, they say love seems to be the foundation for those truly deep, lasting bonds.
But they also say it's not always simple, right?
Definitely. There's no magic formula for relationships. They're messy, complicated, and unique.
So true. The whole time they're asking, which wins the heart? But maybe it's not about winning at all.
Maybe it's more about finding that balance.
Yeah. Or maybe it's like a dance
Ooh, I like that.
with love and sex appeal, each playing their own part.
That's a great way to put it. So for everyone listening, as you navigate your own relationships, Pay attention to that dance. See how it unfolds for you.
It's a journey of discovery, for sure.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thanks for diving into this with me.
Of course. Always a pleasure.
And to everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. It's been a really insightful one. And until next time, keep exploring those fascinating dynamics in your own lives.
See you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.